Good evening, and welcome to Lord Gugu's stream. Tonight's performance of Musical Theater is Good Actually will run approximately 90 minutes with one intermission, and tonight the role of guest will be played by Harrison Smith. Please take this time to silence your cell phones and suppress all bodily urges, and note the emergency exits have been blocked. You're all dying in here with me. And please enjoy Musical Theater is Good Actually.
Back and read your plays.
Wasting.
Popular, you know?
Go on.
I got a better title. Take a left.
That's a better title?
But I think it's important. Musicals are popular, you know? They're a great way to state important ideas. Ideas that can really make a difference. Charlie, we could change the world.
Musical theater, it is good, actually. Musical theater, I think that it actually is good.
Feel the flow.
And we're back for another week of Musical Theater is Good, actually. I knew you wouldn't be able to see the video. It's okay. That's all right. This is all intentional. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, the AC comes on right on cue. Thank you, everybody, for being here again. Great to have you with us. And, yeah, here we are. It is spooky month, but we're not doing a spooky musical tonight. Tonight's very special. We've been hyping this on Twitch for a couple of weeks, and in our lives for years. And I'm very excited for my guest. He's been on the show. Well, he's been on my stream before, not on Musical Theater is Good, actually, this proper format. However, I have done Musical Theater is Bad, actually, on his stream. But beyond the point, he's very important to the Lord Gugu verse, and to me, so we're very excited to have him here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest in the before times was a renowned actor here in the DC area who had performed on stages such as Roundhouse, Keegan Theater, First Stage, another regional equity theater which shall remain unnamed for this time at this moment, many others that I'm forgetting, and in the after times now, he's also the one that kind of inspired me to get here on Twitch. He was one of the first people to just rush in there. He's a part of the four-headed beast that is Mind Sugar 666. He hosts the Super Mind Exploder podcast and co-hosts the Good to See You. Is that right? Good to See You podcast. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. It is Harrison Smith. Yeah.
Hey. What's going on?
How'd I do with my intro? I meant to list more theaters, but then I blanked. Oh, Toby's. That was another one. Oh, and he's a Helen Hayes Award nominee. That was another one I wanted to get in there. There we go.
Indeed. I am, in fact, an award-losing actor.
Thank you. Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? Don't have a watch nomination, though.
That's true. I do have a watch nom and loss.
You do.
For people that are West Coast viewers, so the Helen Hayes are kind of the they are the DC equivalent of the Tonys-ish, or the what you would call the Jeffs in Chicago are very sort of similar. Actually, the Jeffs in Chicago are very similar because the Jeffs have equity and non-equity tiers of their theaters, so it's actually closer than the Tonys, because that's just like the Helen Hayes Awards do as well. And yeah, it's great. But enough about the DC theater scene. That's not what we're here to talk about. We got a lot to get into. But Harrison,
thanks for having me.
Of course. I feel stupid because it's like I already know everything, but we do have traditions here. We do have things to uphold, segments to do on Musical Theater is Good, actually, and we have too much to talk about. We have to get through the formalities, and we have to do the quiz. So
okay.
We are going to still do the quiz.
All right.
All right. So, Harrison, I know how, so this is the thing, is that I basically already know all your answers to this. So this is more for the people watching at home. But what statement do you agree with more? Musical theater is the pinnacle of human achievement as the purest and most complete synthesis of all art and performance, or musical theater is an abomination before God and man and destroying us as a society and human race. Which is closer to your opinion?
Well, depending on the day, it varies. But the first one, of course.
Don't lie to me.
Hey, it does depend on the day.
Well, I mean, yes. It's capable of containing multitudes.
Yes, but I would say the fact that it can be both makes an argument that it's closer to being the pinnacle of human creative achievement.
Exactly. Right. If it has the potential to even do something as extreme as the second one, what I'm trying to get people to acknowledge with this show is that musical theater is extremely powerful, and that you just need to acknowledge that power. And if, just like anything that's extremely powerful, it can and often is used for evil. So, and we shouldn't deny that in any way. But what we should do is unpack it, and where is that evil coming from? And is it from the art form itself? And I submit no.
Yeah, I would say I can't think the art form itself is too bad.
Yeah, it's
mostly
pretty okay.
People singing and dancing, or like standing and...
Who doesn't like singing and dancing? Come on, you people.
Come on, you people.
Come on, you people. We're doing it all. We're doing the singing, the dancing, the acting. There's big sets moving around. There's people flying up in the air. There's a whole 17-piece orchestra, maybe. Like, huge. Like, come on.
Yeah.
All that's happening at once. And it's all happening together to, like, create this thing. So your fucking ass can sit there and be like, stupid.
Yeah, so you can be like, I liked how they like stood there and didn't hold any pages. I like how they stood on stage and remembered all those lines.
How did you memorize all those lines? Oof. Well, we had some memorization. Well, we'll get into that. We had to do.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
This is the most I've had to like prepare for one of these streams in a minute. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, writing Super Mind Exploder every week is time consuming, but this was like crazy, dude. Mm-hmm. And even to just get one clean take of doing this song that we're gonna show the videos of later was absolutely nightmarish.
Yeah, luckily I just kind of set it up like I was doing a stream and hit record instead of stream, and then just try to do my best. Although of course my green screen looks terrible, and it is what it is. And I made a couple lyric flubs myself. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We need to complete this quiz. Let's go. What's your, and you've played them all, but what is you, Harrison Smith, your musical theater archetype? Is it an ingenue? Yes. A villain? Yes. A sidekick / friend? Definitely. Character actor / comic relief / old? Oh, you better believe it. Other? Absolutely that as well. I say all of the above. Which one do you say you are?
I mean, I actually do feel a bit all the above, but I would say like comic relief. I feel like if I were to, in most situations I fall in, I end up being like a slip on the banana peel guy.
Yeah, I was thinking about that production of Forum that you did at Montgomery College, that where you were very much comic relief, and then where
all we did was slip on banana peels.
Exactly. I mean, that's a very
climax
that's
of
a whole
show.
Farce of a show, so it's very good. But yeah, and then Sonny was the ingenue, and then that's funny.
Yeah, and I love that show. I love when they, like they do in Urinetown too, where they like flip it and the guy is like the silly dumb ingenue.
Yeah, the guy is much dumber actually. Yeah, that's. I would also say Sweeney Todd's kind of the same way, because
yes,
Anthony is very stupid, and he's definitely dumber than Joanna. He just has more autonomy because he's a man or whatever.
When he has more status in the society anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, 'cause he's like a soldier, or he's like a sailor.
Yeah, so we love our dumb ingenues. They can be fun in their own way.
Our beautiful boys.
If you're playing them right, your ingenue should be pretty funny too, because they're ridiculous characters. Okay. Well, this is a loaded question, because, well, it's just there's a lot to get into here. How do you musical theater? So, obviously, Harrison's like been very busy up until March 2020. He stayed booked and blessed. He was going one show to the next. He was working. And then, it all went away. And so I guess I'll start with how much are you engaging with musical theater now for fun? Like besides like having to come onto this show and prepare a thing or whatever, but like if you just in your spare time, how much do you find yourself wanting to listen to the musical, wanting to watch musical clips or something still? Is it painful?
I'm just getting back into actually like being able to like enjoy musicals again. Like, I think it was really tough because the initial like grappling with like how long it was going to be before there was going to be any like readily available to do or consume in real life was really tough. But I like re-listened to Falsettos the other day, the original like double album.
That's your favorite
March.
one. That's your favorite.
And I cried like a freaking baby. Like, I'm back, baby. I'm back. So I've been listening to, listening to Merrily has gotten me back into like listening to Sondheim again. So I'm getting back into it. I watched a lot of Jason Alexander this week on YouTube, being amazing at musical theater.
He is great. He is very underrated musical theater. And he needs to, well, wasn't he didn't they make a Lucky Stiff movie? And wasn't he in it?
Yes.
Like relatively
yes, and
recently?
James is too. I'm about to look this up.
Yeah, but he doesn't get to do enough musicals, and he should, because he's great.
Directing them a lot now.
And
I've started to see him come up on the like casting pages of like he's directing, like I think he did a Last 5 Years last season somewhere.
Oh, okay. He's got the money, so he just gets to do whatever he wants for fun. So that's great. He doesn't have to ever. Yeah. We're talking about Jason Alexander because, spoiler alert, he was in the original cast of the show we're going to be talking about tonight as just a young buck, one of his very first, like, professional gigs. So, yeah, we'll get into that.
Lucky Stiff movies 2015.
Yeah, it's pretty recently.
Yeah.
I actually don't even know Lucky Stiff. I just know that people love it.
You would have a blast listening to that.
I bet I would.
Flaherty show, big
oh,
farce.
Yeah, that's right. Aarons and Flaherty are great. And it's the kind of same milieu as City of Angels, which I love as well. Another great musical.
And at Bernie's.
Oh, it's got a Weekend at Bernie's bit to it.
Yeah, so like this guy has like a rich uncle who dies, and his last wish is to like go on this big trip. So he like takes him, and meanwhile all these people are trying to pull scams and stuff on him.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, okay. That's what did I just do? Oh my God, it's fine. What the fuck just happened?
Oh my God.
Okay, everybody, it's all right. Don't
Big
even
goo-goo.
worry. Okay, we're all right here. I got scared for a second. So how? So you're just starting to you're looking at clips online. You're gonna start getting into, because I know that you were a big. I mean, in the before times, it's like we see you driving around town. You're just as likely to be listening to Kanye or Tame Impala as you are fucking falsettos or whatever musical you want to be listening to, right? You typically,
yeah, that's like 100% true. Yeah.
In the back when the when it was a thing.
When it was. But even more so, I mean, like now it's like starting to creep back in. Like I'm starting to get back into musicals again.
Yeah,
it doesn't hurt as bad.
I've been doing a couple more longer drive type things, and so I've been listening to shows and then just like singing again in the car by myself, and that's great. Just getting to do that again. It's like,
it feels so good.
I miss this. And you don't really get to do it when you're just like at your home by yourself, unless you're recording a video for a weird challenge that you're doing for a Twitch stream, which I got to do today.
I also feel like the like rest for my voice has been really good. Like I'm like enjoying singing again because like my voice is not like fucking exhausted 24/7, which was the case before, where it was like I can't really do much like extracurricular singing, and now I can, and that like kind of rocks.
Yeah, but it's a double-edged sword because your voice is the muscle, and if it's out of shape, the range isn't what it is, the tone or whatever, like it's not as strong, it's not as supported and things. So Yeah, but so you get the rest, and then you also have to kind of build it back up again. But luckily,
Which
it's not an issue for me. I'm preternaturally gifted, and it stays really good. So
Yeah,
you'll hear
just
tonight.
naturally
It's perfect.
perfect.
Just very good. So
Extremely good.
all right, you're gonna have a lot of opinions on this one. What musicals should be more popular and beloved, and which should be less popular? Here come the hot takes. Everybody, back up. Prepare.
I mean, less band word.
Oh, the
The
band
H
word.
word definitely. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
the H.
Something
the
that
H word definitely should
oversaturated,
be
there
less
should
popular.
only be less of. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like big show. I mean, obviously, I think falsetto should like be more beloved. I think Finn in general should be more beloved. I think, like in my opinion, he is number 2. He's the only one that's even close to the level of work that Sondheim does.
I was going off about Spelling Bee last week. What a great show that is.
Spelling Bee, New Brain, like
No, New Brain's wonderful.
He's like one of the only people similar to Sondheim where like you're able to get everything you need just from the music and the lyrics he's written. Like you don't have to really do much else except just like sing, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Except he's
So I mean, his
tends to be
show-
more
so,
fun
like,
than
the fact that a New
Sondheim.
Brain is not a bigger show drives me mad.
Mhm.
The fact that Spelling Bee, I actually like. This is a hot take. Like by and large, outside of Parade, I really think JRB is super overrated.
Well,
like-
he's like I want to do a whole episode on JRB, Jason Robert Brown. For those on the outside, he most known for probably Last 5 Years, yeah, but he also did Songs for a New World, The Musical Parade, Bridges in Madison County. I think are probably his other most notable.
13, Urban Cowboy, Honeymoon in Vegas.
And those are the other ones. Yeah, he has the potential to make some of the most like give you full body goosebumps like chords and harmonies and melodies and like some of the most stirring like music ability, and then he like just can't stop writing lyrics about being inside women. Just I want like take me inside you. He literally writes that
he just
lyric.
writes like cum lyrics like constantly.
He's too horny in a way that is gross. It's not like
Passion, like Passion is a really horny show that's like hot.
it's about
like,
horniness and about and same for Little Night Music is very horny, but that's what the show's about. He like is like, this is a nice show about romance and also take me inside you. It's just like,
Dude, I think that show should be bigger. Fuck. What show did you just mention? Because I was just trying.
Last 5 years, Bridges of Madison County.
No. Fuck. I just totally lost it. Womp womp. Whatever.
Yeah,
Who cares? I got that STL. Short-term loss.
From what? All right, Harrison. Musical of your life. It's the 11 o'clock number. It's coming. You got to sum it yourself all up here. What are you singing for your 11 o'clock number?
I gotta pick like I can pick like, this one is always perplexing to me. So like, am I picking like any song in the canon of life?
Any song in the musical canon? Any other like popular music song? Because that's just a jukebox musical. I mean, hey, like fucking Moulin Rouge.
Oh, dude,
was on stage.
I feel like if I could really,
or you can just invent like a song. Like this is what the type of song would be, knowing about musicals. Any of those are fine.
Oh, I would want to do like a rock ballad a la "I Would Do Anything for Love" by Meatloaf. I feel like that'd be a really fucking sweet like 11 o'clock number.
Mm-hmm.
Something in that vein.
Overlong, overwrought, but rocking, like lots of guitar licks. Yeah. Totally.
And sweaty and like
very sweaty.
And like almost campy.
Yeah. Absolutely. As sweaty as possible in all things.
As sweaty as possible. So sweaty that I'm breaking multiple microphones.
Oh, I've done that. I am known
Me too, dude. I got in trouble for when I was in the Green Day show because I broke 2 mics in tech and they had to like taxiderm my skin before.
So for people that don't know, stage acting, you usually have to like at some place have the instrument or whatever, like the actual like battery pack and all that for the mic, and that which also is the receiver or whatever. You have to have that strapped somewhere on you. And typically, for men, like it'll be like a strap, and so I'll put it on my back, like my mid back around there. But that's where I sweat like hell, just like crazy for my back, and it's a sweaty endeavor doing musical theater. You got bright lights on you, you're dancing, you're singing, you're wearing all these costumes. It's sweaty. And typically what they'll do is they will put the actual receiver pack in a condom. That's true.
Yep, they sure will.
And I've had them give me like the pack and be like, here, yeah, put this on. I'll be like, you're gonna want to put a condom on that. You're not gonna want to send me out there unprotected. It's gonna break the instrument.
You got to practice safe sound.
Yeah, you have to practice safe sound for real. I'm too sweaty. All right, Harrison. Let's get into our main topic here. We're gonna intro this a little bit.
Okay.
Get into some backstory, and then we are going to do it. Okay. Well, actually, I'm sorry. This is very silly of me. There's something extremely important that I do have to do first. Excuse me. All right. Okay, good. All right. We're in Sondheim Vision. It's fine. We are now in Sondheim Vision. We are now in Sondheim Vision. Oh, shit. It's over your name.
Shout out to my boy. Bless up to my boy.
We love Stevie Sond. There we go. Okay, perfect. It's great now. So, Merrily We Roll Along. This is often seen as one of Sondheim's biggest failures. I'd say it's his second biggest failure. I don't think anything in terms of his main deal shows. Well, and we're not even counting Frogs. Frogs doesn't count. That's how bad
Gods
Frogs
of the theater smile on us.
No, we don't count the swimming pool musical Greek thing that he made as it was like a fun project that he did to do in the Yale swimming pool or something. It's not a real show.
Yeah, right.
It was an experiment. Yeah. It was fun. And then Nathan Lane wanted to do it, so then they did it again. But Anyone Can Whistle is his greatest failure, I think, because that hasn't even gotten the second life as much. I mean, a lot of the songs get played. People love a lot of those songs in there, but the show itself, Merrily, is also not the most loved, but its initial production, I think, in some ways was an even bigger because the expectations were so much higher at that point for him. I mean, he was coming off of the show that he did before this was Sweeney Todd, maybe his greatest critical success and even popular success, although Forum was actually his longest running Broadway debut. That was the one that ran the longest, but Sweeney was yeah. Why are you so quiet right now? What happened?
Why am I so...
What'd you do?
Oh, hold on.
No, you're good. Now you're good. Whatever you just did.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I tried to switch my audio devices.
Oh, it's Discord.
So I think classic. No, I think that Merrily is one of Sondheim's most influential pieces, probably. In terms of I think that's the argument of best worst thing that ever could have happened.
Right. So let's give just the basic premise here for people that don't know Merrily.
Okay, great.
So it started as a play by Moss Hart or some shit from the early 20th century.
It's like a Kaufman and Hart thing.
Kaufman and Hart. That's it. Yeah. And it was the general story of the play is a group of three friends who I think are writers, and it's travels back in time through their lives, through these various scenes that go backwards in time, from them being kind of accomplished, maybe cynical, or having made their compromises in life or whatever at the end, to going all the way back in time to them being very young and idealistic and feeling like the world was their oyster and everything's possible. And so that was Merrily. So they were going to adapt that. The impetus for it came from largely the legend of legends, ultimate Broadway directing legend. Hard to put anyone ahead of him. The man himself, Harold Prince, who was fresh off of
the inventor of modern musical staging.
He directed, Sweeney Todd. He helped, develop Company was really his first. I think it was his first collaboration with Sondheim. That he directed Company, which also was George Firth, who also wrote the book for it. So it's a complete reteam. And that show is one of the most influential Sondheim shows because it invented the concept musical, like something to that sort of that's not linear story and about exploring a concept through songs and scenes. Company was the first to do. And so now they were going to do this with Merrily We Roll Along. And the reason was, if I'm remembering this correctly, is Harold Prince's wife was really into doing shows that featured young people, that were all about young people. And so that was what they came up with, was that Merrily was going to be performed by a very young cast, so that when it went back in time to them being very young, it's like, then it makes sense. And he also did this other thing where, like, they put the name of the character on a T-shirt and didn't really have
They're wearing, like, collegiate
The
style,
initial
like,
Broadway
jacket.
production was controversial. It had issues. It, I think, had one too many. It's already a very conceptual show and hard to wrap your head around, and they added another layer of concept on it for the first time anybody's seeing this musical, and people just did not like it.
No.
Because you had a very young, untested cast who were very enthusiastic and, great. I mean, some of them went on to have long careers, including Jason Alexander. Lonnie Price, who's the original Charlie Kringus, is a very, very accomplished theater director. So, it's... And then people just like, this show doesn't work, it's bad. And then they do then they try some more productions, and there's an off-Broadway production in the early 90s that really reworks a lot of the show. So that's like something like 12, 13 years after the original production. And Sondheim does a lot of major rewrites to it, a lot of reworking of it, and then that production is the one that gets done now. And all this is to say, Harrison and I love this show, and there are some, even though the show is flawed and it has like a weird history, we have a lot of love for it because especially the songs themselves. The score, I think, is one of Sondheim's best scores. The overture alone, I recommend. Just put on that fucking overture. It slaps so hard. Oh man, that thing is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's some of the best drumming on any musical theater show ever.
Yeah. It's so good, and it's Sondheim doing sort of very classic musical theater sound. Like he's doing, because the show, so in Sondheim and George Firth's interpretation, is instead of being a bunch of writers, it's a writing team, a composer and lyricist who write musicals, and their friend Mary, who's first a writer, then a critic, and also just their so it's about this very close friendship between these three, and so the music is very classic kind of show tuney, and I think that's a reason that a lot of the songs work so well out of context, like Not a Day Goes By or Old Friends, or like some of these like songs.
Titular Merrily We Roll Along.
It just really kind of leans on that very classic kind of Broadway sound, and it also does Sondheim's most meta show by a long stretch. Just lots of... There's an entire plot point about making a tune you can hum.
Oh yeah, I was just going to mention that.
Which is, of course, the classic complaint that people have against Sondheim. It's the, are you a person that likes musicals that are fun and make you, like, you want to listen to the soundtrack, or do you like that intellectual shit like Sondheim?
Dude, and it's actually really interesting because, like, this is some of his, like, most straightforward, listen-to-able music, and so it's very funny that it's packed in this absolutely bonkers concept. Well, and this because Sondheim is so, like, he is so like that. Like, he will give you what you want, but there'll be 100 caveats onto it that that make it Sondheim-y.
Right. Well, it's like I talked about with Unworthy of Your Love and Assassins. It's like, yeah, here's your fucking pop song. I can write this in my sleep, and two psychopaths are singing it, just so you know. It's like,
right. It's about murder.
Right.
Attempted murder.
This stupid psychopath was able to write this song in what I'm saying. And this is and I also think that like Good Thing, and it's a lot of him grappling with his own success in the show, and like Good Thing Going, the song from this show that becomes like this huge hit for this composing team, that the one Franklin Shepard, the sort of the main character, wants to leverage into success, and the other one is more interested in wanting to create more work basically. But that song, I think, is really his, like, Send in the Clowns of this show. Because it's like, Send in the Clowns was such a huge hit for Sondheim in the, after A Little Night Music in the, like, mid to late 70s, everybody recorded it. It was huge. It was everywhere. And so that was sort of what gave him the sort of carte blanche. And so this show, I think, is him kind of almost, like, and so in this stage of his career, so this is before he does Sonny in the Park with George, before he does Into the Woods, Assassins, Passion, those were the ones that would come after this show. So it's kind of him being like, what is my legacy, almost in some ways, like directly, like how do I, what drives me as an artist, like what, and what am I afraid of, almost too, and that's a lot of what's kind of unpacked in this very great show about shows. And I found a slime tutorial. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did not get to watch the whole thing, but I did get a chance to go through it and watch some of the big numbers and big sequences.
So
the opening doors is unbelievable. I was like almost in tears.
The three principals, particularly the Frank and the Mary. I mean, the Charlie's great too.
And Jenna Russell is unbelievable.
Jenna Russell as Mary, unreal good. And also
she's
Matt
a David Baker's
Umbers
wife too.
Oh, okay. Matt Umbers, who plays Franklin Shepard, I saw on Wikipedia. I was doing some research on his Wikipedia page. It says that Sondheim's been quoted as saying that it's his favorite Franklin Shepard is the guy from this production.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I thought he was really good too. I mean, this is sort of the issue with the show, is that you start from one of the most unlikable asshole protagonists of a musical I can think of. That's the starting point for this character.
Yeah, he's just like Mr. Money piece of shit.
And
like,
he's
truly...
like he's introduced by, like, he comes in, like, when it's like the first, not the intro song, but like the first scene, he comes in and he's got like a big tray of Coke and he's on like his Hollywood like manse with like all of his like fake like Hollywood like basically like suck up like crowd or whatever, and he's just put out this schlock movie that is like not as like very B movie, but it's gonna make money kind of thing.
And all these people are kissing his ass so vapidly and vainly. Meanwhile, like Mary is at the party having a horrible time.
And Mary's just like completely a mess, and he doesn't give a shit. And
yeah
so it's like it's just he's a big dick. I mean, like, I have to compare it to like Billy Bigelow is the only one I can think of who's the wife beater in Carousel that is sympathetically portrayed by Rodgers and Hammerstein. We love it. But he doesn't.
Feels like a warm kiss.
He doesn't do that. He just like is a horrible womanizer who sleeps with everything in front of him and then like screws over his friends and all that kind of stuff. That's it. But yeah, and
kind of sells his soul.
Right, and completely sells his soul. And then but over time he like gets more likable like towards the end. But as you're seeing it, you're like, oh, but the things that he's likable for, I already know he's gonna like. I've already seen the part where he abandons those principles. So it is a weird watch. And so I mean it'll never be Sondheim's biggest hit, nor should it be. But it's such an interesting show. And the character, I mean, I've just been talking all around it, and now let's get into it, Harrison. The character that Harrison and I love the most is Charlie Kringus, who is Frank's collaborator. He's the artist. Right, he's the book writer and the lyricist for the musicals that they write together. Frank is the composer, and I think that that's a really good and interesting choice, because in some ways the composer is a much more kind of like, I don't want to say like divinely inspired kind of thing, but it's like more of like... No, it is.
That's correct. I was exactly going to say something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is, to compose the music is a much more kind of incredible thing. But by all accounts, Charlie's a very smart writer, and like it's there's lots of little lines throughout the show at the beginning, which is the end of the story, about how he's just such a brilliant writer when he goes and pursues his own thing and kind of ditches Frank at the end of the story, beginning of the show. This is like a very confusing thing to have to frame. But you hear in the first true scene about somebody mentions Charlie, and then he's like, we don't talk about that name ever since the live on TV blow up that was shown to the whole country. And so basically their entire relationship falls apart on this on TV interview where basically Charlie is ambushed more or less because Charlie keeps always trying to get Frank to just come back, let's write a show together, stop doing these movie productions and all this kind of shit. And Frank they're doing an interview together on like a kind of like a Today Show type of like newscast type of thing. And right before they go on, Charlie learns that Frank has just signed a 3-picture deal that's going to leave him in LA for just years and years longer when he wanted him to come back, and they were finally going to write their dream show together or whatever, and they aren't able to. And so it's kind of the last straw. And live on air, Charlie Kringus has a meltdown, and it's a song called Franklin Shepherd Inc. And it is, I think, my favorite Sondheim character song, like character patters, I'm throwing out some terminology. A patter song, and this was why this was very difficult for Harrison and I to record this.
Holy shit, man.
And huge thanks to Marika Contouris, a brilliant music director in the DC area, a pianist who recorded us a great track. But again, a patter song is typically you want to be live there with your pianist so that they can follow along with you. You can make choices. But, we worked with it. We made it work. But it's a 5-minute sort of meltdown that this character has. That's really, really great. And when I was getting into this show a lot, like 5 years ago or so, or a little longer, I was like, I want to play this part. I want to sing this role. And then somewhere along the lines, we decided that we were competing for this role together. Harrison and I are both competing.
I don't even know how it started. I just remember us sending like the Trump memes of the fake executive.
That wasn't, and I was like, I would be a better Charlie Kringus, and it was like Trump putting out an executive order saying, it's this hereby decreed that Bobby would be a better Charlie Kringus in a production of Merrily We Roll Along than Harrison. And then that just sort of became, so then we just started like basically roasting each other or heckling each other about who would be the better Charlie Kringus. So
some playful trolling.
A couple years ago, we started saying one day we'll have like a cabaret or something, and we will do a Franklin Shepherd Inc. off, where we will each perform it, and we'll see who's better. And I don't really know how we're gonna.
I don't even know how we're gonna judge because
I don't think we are going to judge. They're both going to be great.
First of all, this is like so. First of all, this is so funny because you have to, and you all will see after this. Like, and if you go back and listen to the show, like most of this song is done with like an incredibly fast arpeggiating synth underneath it that's moving unbelievably fast and stopping for breaks of dialogue. So what you're going to witness is Bobby and I frantically trying to stay on top of a track as well as recite Sondheim lyrics as well as act and sing.
I learned a bit of video editing to sync up the audio at points a little better and cut out some pauses that I took. So, Harrison claims that he did his in one take, first take.
I did. You can tell how sweaty, and by the end when I'm like frantically trying to find the words so that I can get to the end of the take.
I only needed the words for 2 very short sections. I otherwise was off book, just for the record. So let that be another like bonus for me.
Points.
So I'm trying to, because I can't actually capture this. I don't think. Hang on, let me. Oh shit. Let me see if this will work. 1 second. I'm gonna, because I want to see if I can. No, I'm not gonna be able to. Well, what I can show is I can play the audio. I'm having trouble showing. Oh wait, actually, hang on a second. Hi, buddy. Want to start a show? Oh, great idea. Spoiler. Ignore me. I want to give
Musical theater.
This is the magic happening live. I want to give a little bit of more context to the song. I just want to show the sort of moment before. So I'm seeing if I can capture that here.
Now, folks, in the industry, the moment before, it's often used a lot of times in acting classes to really inform what's going to happen in the next piece. You like to carry with you something like the moment before the song is going to start for greater context. And that's just some lingo from the industry that,
Oh, perfect.
You can use. That's a free one. That one's free.
Harrison, this is amazing.
That's why we're here.
All right. This is actually great. That was perfect.
Oh, how is your son?
Shit. Okay. I'm going to give... 1 second. Just going to do some cropping here. And so this is the slime tutorial we watched. Now, this I have because this was at one point available for sale, and it's purchased legally for sure. This was the Menier Chocolate Factory in London, then transferred to the West End. A very, very good production. And this was 2013, I want to say.
That's crazy. It feels like it was so much more recent than that.
Yeah, the West End transfer was 2014. But it was most of the same cast, I think. So yeah, let's watch, and we're gonna watch right up until the moment where the interview, where the song starts, rather. So now they're setting up for the interview here.
I'll coo and I'll tear and I'll carry on like a mad thing. People love cheap sentiment. Oh, I understand. Congratulations are in order. I hear you've signed a 3-picture deal to produce movies.
Where did you hear that?
Oh, I have my spies. Oh, don't worry. I understand I'm not supposed to bring it up on the air.
I think you weren't supposed to bring it up in front of me.
Oh?
So that's Charlie finding out for the first time about that 3-picture deal I was talking about.
Oh.
Look, Charlie, I was waiting for the exact moment to tell you, but see, it doesn't change our plan. It's only going to be like 2 or 3 months at a time.
Frank, it's always only 2 or 3 months at a time.
But I haven't even signed the contract yet.
Do you know how long I've sat and I've waited for you to finish this project?
Guys, hold it for a second, can you? We're just about on.
Charlie, I have a son to support. I have an ex-wife draining me. Look, what if we write the show, we get it on, and they say it's no good?
Frank, I have 4 kids to support, and I don't give a rat's ass what they say. If I say it's good, if you say it's good, that's what's important. Cut it all.
And we all want to give a shout out to the British actors, American accents. Frank's especially, I think, is a very good American accent. His is he's doing a bit of a character voice to cover up, but that's fine. That's a fine choice. I mean, look, I'm the accent master here, all right, and proud of these British.
As the accent kind of guy.
Proud of these British.
Dude, it's actually really crazy, though. It's actually really crazy. Like, I'm watching this right now and thinking to myself, like, this poor guy on stage right now is sitting there just like, oh shit, I'm about to get shot out of a fucking cannon.
And I'll tell you what else about Charlie in this production, and probably in general, is he's always wearing the fucking like sweater vests and the like bow tie really tight, and like his jackets seem like heavier, like more wool. So yeah, I was feeling for him. I was feeling for him a lot throughout this. So let's.
Show, we get it on, and they say it's no good.
Frank, I have 4 kids to support, and I don't give a rat's ass what they say. If I say it's good, if you say it's good, that's what's important. Cut it's all that's important.
Okay, fellas, we're just about to start.
That doesn't always any good unless it makes a fucking fortune.
Hi, we're back, and welcome to today in New York's Celebrity Spot. Here next to me, I have 2 brilliantly talented people. The gentleman on my right is...
No, Franklin Shepard. Almost forgot.
And
he is. Why should he lie? And I have no idea who I am.
This is my great friend and even greater collaborator, Charles Krinkus.
they are the songwriters for Musical Husbands, both the show and the movie. They also wrote Sweet Sorrow, and their newest collaboration will be called Take a Left. But more about that later.
Apparently much later.
And you
because that's the dream show that they're supposed to work on, and that's why he says much later, because he always has to.
He married the star of those shows, Gussie Carnegie, did you not?
Yes, that's correct.
And I'm married to Evelyn.
Yes. Now, all of Broadway says you 2 are the next Rodgers and Hammerstein, Lerner and Lowe.
Irving and Berlin.
Yes. Let's start at the beginning. You're both from Chicago. You both went to the same school and the same college.
No, me, Columbia, him, Juilliard.
Oh, so your entire life you've been very, very close friends.
Until today.
Well, like all collaborators, we've had our fights and other commitments, but the magic's only there when it's me and Charlie. Charlie and me.
Oh, I love it. Now, how do you two work together?
May I answer that?
All right. And that is from whence
All right.
Harrison and I start our performance. Okay, so Harrison and I, I'm gonna take us down. We're gonna disappear, and then this is the Franklin Shepard Inc. People. We are doing it right now. I'm gonna play. Now, whose video goes first? Should we flip a coin or something?
I think we should.
Who's got a coin? Abby, do you have a coin?
Who's got a coin? Anybody in the chat got a coin?
Oh, Abby does. Abby is taking a coin out of her purse.
I do.
Okay.
Oh, Abby.
You can flip it.
I don't
No.
want to have that. You should do it on air so people know it's fair.
Okay, fine. Did everybody hear Abby? It's fine. All right. Coin. All right, Harrison, you call it heads or tails. Oh, wait, hang on, that
Heads.
sucked. All right, hang on, let me do it again.
Damn it.
All right, you said
Tails.
Heads? No, now you say tails. Okay. We got heads. So I choose who goes first, and I say you go first.
All right, let her rip.
All right, so I'm going to take me down, then Harrison down, and then we are going to do this. So,
The Franklin Shepard Inc. off, folks. Oh, what's going on, Max?
what's
Good
up,
to see you
Max?
in the chat.
We are, so Harrison and I will be back in just a few short minutes to discuss how this goes. All right, so without further ado, let's start.
I'm turning my camera off so you won't see me, folks.
Okay, let's start with Harrison's entry here.
Yep, I can hear you. How do we work together? Yeah, well, I can answer that. Well, he goes. Well, yep, I can hear you. Mm-hmm. And I go. And the phone goes ring. Mutter, 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 mutter. Yes, Jerome. Mutter, no, Jerome. Mutter, 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 mutter. That's lawyer Jerome. Mutter, 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 mutter. Doing it wrong. Click, sorry, Charlie. And I go. And he goes. And I go. And soon we're tapping away. Sorry, Charlie. Secretary, on the intercom. Yes, Miss Biz, it's a messenger. Thanks, Miss Biz. Will you tell him to wait? Will you order the car? Will you call up the bank? Will you wire the coast? Will you ring? Sorry, Charlie. Mutter, 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 mutter. Still the stocks. Mutter, buy the rights. Mutter, 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 mutter. Let me put you on hold. Yes, Miss Biz. Is he ever? Thanks, Miss Biz. Will you tell him to wait? Will you wire the car? Will you order the coast? Will you set up the bank? And the telephone's blinking. The Boston's sold. And the rest of us, he keeps on hold. And he's into making movies. And he's now a corporation. Right. So I sit at home with my wife and kids. And I wait to hear the movie bits. And I got a little sailboat. And I'm into meditation. Right. He flies off to California. I discuss him with my shrink. That's the story of the way we roll. Me and Franklin Shepard Inc. Generally, what comes first is the contracts. Money? Did I say money? No, I like money a lot. I mean, it's better than not. But when it's money, when you're into money, and you should be. Look, Frank does the money thing very well, but you know what? Other people do it better. And Frank does the music thing very well, but you know what? No one does it better. Still, the telephone's blink and the buzzers buzz, and I really don't know what he does, but he makes a lot of money, and a lot of it for me. Right, so I said okay, and I start to play, and he somehow knows, cause right away it's ring. He business, and I mean just that. Back with Franklin Shepherd Inc. Wait, okay, I'm very sneaky how it happens. Much more sneaky than you think. Start with nothing but a song to sing. Next year, Franklin Shepherd. Wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself there. Look, the thing is, we're not that kind of close anymore. You see, friendship is like a garden. You have to tend it, you have to care it, you have to water about it. And you know what? I want it back. And look, nothing permanent has happened. Just a temporary kink. Friendship's something you don't really lose. How it happens. Every day you're on the brink. First the prizes, then the interviews. Oh my God, I think it's happened. Stop me quick before I sink. One more triumph that I can't refuse. Hey, in case you didn't notice, this is my first time on Twitch TV and my last. No, here's the point. Whatever happens, then we'll all go have a drink. That's the guy I love, the fella who's inside. Mutter, 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 mutter. Quick, Jerome, get the president. There's a crazy man on my TV screen. Bzz, bzz, ring inside. Boom, 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 boom. Inside Franklin Shepherd. Just write him care of Any Bank USA Inc.
Now tell me, how do you two work together? Oh, I'm sorry, can I answer that? How do we work together? Sure, he goes, and I go. And soon we're humming along, and that's called writing a song. Then he goes, and I go. And the phone goes brrring, and he goes mutter, 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 mutter. Yes, Jerome, mutter, no, Jerome, mutter, 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 mutter. That's his lawyer, Jerome, mutter, 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 mutter. Do it, Jerome. Click, sorry, Charlie. So I go, and he goes, and I go, and soon we're tapping away. Bzz, sorry, Charlie. Bzz, it's the secretary on the intercom. Yes, Miss Buzz, it's a messenger. Oh, thanks, Miss Buzz. Would you tell him to wait? Would you order the car? Would you call up the bank? Would you wire the coast? Would you brrring? Sorry, Charlie. Mutter, 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 mutter. Sell the stocks. Mutter, buy the rights. Mutter, 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 mutter. Bzz, let me put you on hold. Bzz, yes, Miss Buzz, it's the interview. Oh, thanks, Miss Buzz. Would you tell him to wait? Would you wire the car? Would you order the coast? Would you send up the bank? And the telephones blink, and the buzzers fold, and the rest of us, he keeps on hold, and he's into making movies, and he's now a corporation, right? And I wake at home with my wife and kids, and I wait to hear the movie bits, and I've got a little sailboat, and I'm into meditation. Right. He flies off to California. I discuss him with my shrink. That's the story of the way we work, me and Franklin Shepherd Inc. Now, when you do work together, which comes first generally, the words or the music? Generally, the contract. It sounds like you think making money is a bad thing for an artist. Money? Did I say money? No, I like money a lot. I mean, it's better than not. But when it's money, when you're into money, and you should be. Listen, Frank does the money thing very well, but you know what? Other people do it better. And Frank does the music thing very well, and you know what? No one does it better. Still, the telephones blink and the buzzers buzz, and I really don't know what he does, but he makes a ton of money. And a lot of it for me. Right? So I think, okay, and I start a play, and he somehow knows, cause right away it's brrring. Hiya, buddy, want to write a show? Got a great idea. We'll own all the rights with a 2-week out and a guarantee on the turnaround, plus a gross % of the billing clause, and there I am in California, talking deals and turning pink. Back in business, and I mean just that. Back with Franklin Shepherd Inc. Very sneaky how it happens, much more sneaky than you think. Start with nothing but a song to sing. Next, you're Franklin Shepherd. Wait a minute. We're getting a little too deep here. Because, the thing is that Frank and I, we aren't that kind of close anymore. The way we used to be. And a friendship, it's like a garden. You have to water it. You have to tend it. You have to care about it. Or you lose it. And I miss it. I want it back. Look, nothing permanent has happened. Just a temporary kink. Friendship's something you don't really lose. Ladies and gentlemen, do not let me lose the greatest composer any lyricist has ever known. Write him, phone him, stop him on the street, you'll recognize him. He's the one going through his checkbook. And tell that man to get back to his piano. Be sneaky how it happens. Every day you're on the brink. First the prizes, then the interviews. Oh my God, I think it's happened! Stop me quick before I sink! One more triumph that I can't refuse. In case you didn't notice, this is my first time on TV. And my last. No, here's the point, whatever happens, then we'll all go have a drink. That's the guy I love, the fella who's inside. Mutter, 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 mutter. Quick, Jerome, get the president. There's a crazy man on my TV screen. Inside. Bzz, bzz, bring. Inside Franklin Shepherd. Just write him care of any bank in the USA, Inc.
Good job. That was fun. I maxed it
No,
out
I'm
on
not
my
muted.
mic.
All right, I'm back.
What's going on, everybody?
Wow,
Thanks for watching that.
That was great. Thank you, everybody, for indulging. Thank you all for the claps.
Some true silliness, thank you.
I'm gonna give it up in the chat myself for the person who made it all possible. The one and only. There he is.
Oh, let's give it up for Sondheim. I need to go ahead and sub because I haven't even been.
That's right. I am a Twitch affiliate.
sub.
I am a Twitch affiliate now. You can sub.
Let me go ahead and
there
hit
is
you
a
with
sound
that.
alert as well. Not quite sure how to do that one, but there is a sound alert for, I believe, 50 bits. Yes. So, wow. Hey,
Wow.
Look at my newest subscriber. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Wow.
Oh, Harrison, we did it. We don't need to say who won. It was never about that.
No, it was never about that. It was about all the sweat that we sweat along the way. I gotta hand it to you because as both sweaty boys, you really went for the center focused minimal sweat route, and I really had to respect that. I didn't even, when I was watching it, I was like, I could have sweat a lot less doing that. I could have sweat a lot less doing that.
I don't know. I had my own. There it is.
Is good, actually.
Thank you, Perfect Speller, for playing my sound alert. I love it
That's
so much.
funny. That's funny.
Yeah, no, my internal. So I kind of tried to have my geography of the people be roughly equivalent to what was in the slime tutorial we watched. So I was, Frank was directly to my left, and then like a down left of him was the interviewer. I also played the interviewer. I don't know if you noticed. I played.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, when I did this in my recital in school, I had Hassani sit on stage with me, and he said it was like the most uncomfortable 5 minutes of his whole life. I mean, to play Franklin in this, like, it truly must be very awkward.
Well, I wanted to say, actually, let me, hold on a second. My mouse decided to stop working. Because I did want to show one clip, because actually, a new challenger. A new challenger is approaching here. In fact, so I'm going to let's keep talking about your process here, Harrison. I really respect you just kind of trudging through it a number of times. You know, a lesser person, certainly I would have just said screw it to the take, but kept going.
I'm a
really
one-take kind of guy.
That. Yeah, I really respect that. And I mean, that was honestly a dream come true. That's one of my absolute favorite Sondheim songs. So getting to actually do that was truly awesome. I love it. That song is so fun. Maybe we'll watch my favorite rendition, and it's the Raul Esparza is the iconic rendition.
Dude, it's incredible.
People know who Raul Esparza is if you're Law and Order fans or musical theater fans. He is one of the and also one of the all-time Sondheim guys, I think.
If you're fans of just Law and Order in general and of the television program,
Law and Order. Law and Order.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Oh, shit. No. We're not ready yet. Okay. Harrison already knows what's happening. What's going to happen here. But, sorry, everybody. A new challenger approaches. A new challenger approaches.
Right.
So I play at home with my wife and kids, and I wait to hear the movie bids, and I've got the sailboat, and I'm in a meditation. Right. He flies off to California. I discuss him with my shrink.
A third entrant into the Franklin Shepherd Inc. off.
We work, me and Franklin Shepherd Inc.
a lintrance, if you will.
A late lintrance. A late lintrant. All right, that was so it did have that. Yeah, he thought it was very funny.
I could do Lin-Manuel Miranda's Franklin Shepherd Inc. probably better than Lin-Manuel can do his own.
You can find a recording of it. It is recorded. There's a recording because that Encore's, City Center Encore's performance is recorded.
He does sort of rap.
And America Ferrara's in it as well, I believe, that she's Mary. And she was in the 6 by Sondheim, which I've recommended as a great documentary where they do opening doors, and she is the Mary in that as well, along with Darren Criss is also in that.
And Jeremy Jordan, right?
Yes, actually, Jeremy Jordan's the third one. That's right. That's who it is. So
That's a great documentary.
I love it. Again, I recommended this. Ah, shit. I fucked up the cropping. Oh no. Oh no!
Come on!
Oh no! God damn it! I knew I shouldn't have closed that window.
Cropping, if you ask me.
Oh god! This is all part of it.
I'm just
folks.
ahead now. And Bobby's just
Lord
a forehead.
Gugu experience. I knew that would happen. Fuck. It's all fine. It's all
Gugu
fine.
Pictures.
That's right. Okay, there we go.
And we start when we're goddamn ready here
at
Lord
stack
Gugu.
ahead of you. There we go. What were we fucking talking about before I ruined everything?
Who knows? Sondheim, Merrily We Roll Along, Jason Alexander. I'm here to talk mostly about Merrily We Roll Along, but largely about Jason Alexander today.
Okay.
He's so great. That's all.
There is, speaking of, it was documentary, 6 by Sondheim. I recommended to Jack on the Sweeney episode. Anybody just has a casual, after hearing me nerd out about it, you just kind of want to watch something about Sondheim, that's a great 90-minute crash course with both his music and his body of work and his life, and it's like a really great, intro course there.
And his body.
And his, oh boy, and that 90-something-year-old body. Oh boy. Oh man, look at him! Look at this face! Look at this punham here.
I mean, he's the best ever. He truly is the best ever.
I know. Well, actually, young Sondheim all the way to the left there. I mean, the first two Sondheims. Actually, the first three. I think third one's kind of cute too. But the second one, especially with the cigarette, he's leaning against the wall. I'm a big fan of that.
That's my favorite
Sondheim.
picture of him.
Yeah, and then the first one too, which is like I mean, that's like Gypsy era Sondheim. That's like West Side Story Sondheim. He's young there. But speaking of amazing documentaries about Sondheim, the best worst thing that ever could have happened, which is a documentary about, we had talked about before, the original Broadway production of Merrily We Roll Along, which featured a cast of exclusively children, exclusively, like the oldest member of the cast was in their early 20s probably. It was like the original Spring Awakening, or actually no, the original Spring Awakening was Runaways, but it was a more polished Runaways.
Right.
Runaways is a musical about runaway children where they had actual children in the show. One day I will play the Tony's performance from Runaways because it's very weird and great.
It's great, actually, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know. I do love it. It's one of the most compelling pieces of like TV, like musicals performed on TV. But back to our friend Steve here. So it is, I think, directed by Lonnie Price too, and he's in it as well.
it is.
And he's he's an artistic director for some theater in like upstate New York or something. It's like some regional theater, and he also does a lot of directing. But he was also at a very young age, at like 17 or however young he is, or he was the original Charlie Kringus. And in fact, one of my favorite stories in the documentary is about the first time that Sondheim played for the ensemble the song Good Thing Going was at Lonnie Price's like 16th birthday party in his bedroom with like the full cast, and they were like, because he had like a piano or keyboard in there or whatever.
They play that recording in the doc,
and they like all
don't
cried.
They? Yeah.
I mean, like, unbelievable. And then my other favorite thing about this documentary is that Jason Alexander participates in the documentary. He is there, and he does not big time. It's like you would not, if you like didn't know Seinfeld existed, you would not think this guy is like 100 times richer than the next richest person in the documentary. He is so happy to be talking about this experience. And Jason Alexander was the original, I forget the character's name, but he's like the original, not agent, but the like producer who they first
I
pitched it.
live in New York. Yeah.
And he also is Gussie, he's the original husband. He gets cucked by Franklin Shepard, literally. He literally gets cucked. and he is okay with it. Did you watch that part of the show? Did you see that part?
Yeah.
He's like, it's fine. They can. Just, he's like, for the love of God, I hope she just doesn't leave me. And then, of course, she does. But
oh, my God.
But that's
that
a real
like
part
a
of the show. It's a very adult, it's like maybe,
anyway.
Besides Passion and A Little Night Music, it's kind of his most adult, mature show. It's actually even more mature than A Little Night Music because all those people are immature idiots, and that's what's funny about it.
And they're sort of talking around things, you know.
Right.
In that show, it's all euphemisms.
And this show is very directly about like nostalgia, memory, and the choices.
It's also very cynical. This show it's cynical for way longer than it's optimistic at any point. It's like I feel like it's only really optimistic for like the back 4 or 5 songs maybe.
So, and this is part of what I think that they solved a lot with the rework that they did for the off-Broadway, but something that they lost, and it is better, but so the original Broadway production, the framing device for the whole show is it starts with Franklin Shepard in present day, which is 1980, was the original production, and it was present day then.
Right.
And it's Frank telling, at a graduation for his high school, his alma mater. And it's also where he and Charlie met, and he and Charlie wrote the like school song that they sing like at the beginning of the whole show, and that was like the first song they wrote together. And so it's like all this stuff that's in there, and there's this whole refrain in the Merrily We Roll Along opening number that recurs throughout the entire show. It's sort of like the transition. All the transition numbers are the Merrily, but it always comes back to, how did you get to be here? How did you get to be here, Mr. Shepard? And that is in the original. It's all the kids at the graduation like standing up and saying, how did you get to be here? And then they all take off their graduation robes, and then they're these characters, and then that's when it starts going back in time and all that. But that's the whole framing device, is that they're at this graduation. And the show now, like, kind of doesn't have that. The opening is much more kind of oblique, I guess is the word I want to say. It's, like, less defined, like, what it actually, like, where it is, what's happening, and it is just kind of more in Frank's memory or in his head, as far as you can tell. This production, the Many a Chocolate Factory, they have this thing where at the beginning Frank comes out and he's looking at this like red book, and you don't know what it is, and he's like considering it, and then that's when the voices start coming and the people start coming in, and that's the song starting. And then the very, very end of the show, after our time, you realize that that's Charlie's play that he was reading up on the rooftop, and then he comes back to that, and it's like the idea is that Frank found this, and that's what the entire show has been, him thinking back through his entire life backwards. But yeah, that it is kind of, is it enough? Like, like, how do you leave the show feeling, you know?
Well, that a lot of things that, like, art is, I don't know, that, like, the whole thing makes me very existentially sad and reassured. I mean, at the end of the show, because when you have our time, first of all, you're sad as hell thinking past even 3 numbers, because you realize that all these things fall apart. These kind of like optimistic dreams of youth very quickly get robbed, especially when, like, not to get like too political, but especially when money gets involved and like capital gets involved. So at the beginning, they're just kids making something, trying to get people to see their stuff. And at the end, he's, you know, selling 3-picture deals like it's nothing.
Yeah, and it's not about what he is making at that point. It's just about making stuff, and it's about himself and his own, like, trajectory or whatever. But yeah. I would say that it definitely affected me to watch. I just watched it last night, and well, first of all, it's a fabulous recording, like video, like it's really, really well done, and that's really, really good. The staging is minimal. Like, they don't do a lot of, like, choreo, like, adding to it. They really pare it down to just the simplest, bare kind of letting the lyrics, the music, the ideas really kind of lead and not add a whole bunch onto it. And that, I thought, worked so well in contrast, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the show, but to the original production where it was all these kids, and like I said, it's a concept on a concept on a concept, and so it makes total sense to me that the Broadway audiences were like, what even is this? Because you have to be like, these are kids that are playing old, and then they're going back in time, and then they are to their kid's self, but like, and the reason that angle just doesn't make sense to me is because the show is, like I said, is so mature. And that
they don't have the perspective, you know,
right,
like
and that's what it's about. It's about the thinking back through your life. And I can't imagine anybody under the age of like their early 30s being one of these 3 lead characters. You need to have like some life that you can think back on to be like, what are the choices I made? Like, what are the forks in the road, and where are the times that I, you know, like, you need to. I don't understand how you could expect people under the age of, you know, 23 to do this. It's besides ensemble parts, which, by the way, really fun ensemble. I want to be in this ensemble. Sondheim
you kind of just get to like hop around and
Sondheim
have a blast.
has great
and,
ensembles
like,
sometimes.
Characters.
There's only a few shows that the ensemble's ass. Passion, not a good ensemble.
No.
Not a great ensemble, but Sweeney, amazing
the ensemble.
ensemble
Of Assassins, not very good.
No, that is kind of, well, you get to sing Something Just Broke, and How I Saved Roosevelt's fun, but, so it's okay. That one's not bad. There is really no ensemble in Into the Woods. Sunday, there's not a bad part in Sunday. All the parts in Sunday are fun.
Yeah, they're good. They're all good.
Anyway, this, I really just appreciated all the, it's that fun thing because they each get to embody a bunch of different characters, and all those characters get to be kind of like showbiz people and shallow, and like that's really fun to play. And the stuff like the Blob and things like that was really, really well done. And it's a good show. I don't know.
It's a really good show.
And the thing that, and what I was getting at is the thing that really hit me was the curtain call. And specifically the moment that they gestured to the orchestra and that they like applauded down to them, and then they cut to the audience And it was hard. It wasn't until that moment that I was like, this sucks. I'm not going to be able to do this for so long.
It really sucks, especially after like the day after Broadway's like we're closed until June, which means that like that's like even a light timeline for the smaller as it trickles down, you know.
Well, yeah, and that's just it's hard to do anything anywhere. But
Anywhere.
I will say I'm excited starting to see some people doing some like outdoor things. I want to shout out my Next Stop Theater doing some outdoor concerts. Friend of the show.
They look cool.
Friend of the show, Sarah Ann Sillers just did a concert last weekend, I think. Actually, I meant to do this, and then I forgot, was when we were doing our Franklin Shepherd Angst, to have our Franklin Shepherd played by, off on the side of the screen, I wanted to put up Ryan Burke's picture, and so I could have Ryan Burke play Franklin Shepherd for us. But I think he has a concert either next weekend or the weekend after as well. It will be during this time, so I give you permission, if you're local to DC, to go see Ryan's parking lot concert at Next Stop, wearing a mask outdoors. And you can watch this show in the VOD. It's okay. Give you permission. I will forgive you. Your mic went low again. Your mic's fucked up again. It's fine. And
Fix. There we go.
go.
Did this fix it?
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
I just want to say, on the topic of Merrily, something that everybody should think about with all of this entire conversation we just had, that Richard Linklater is making a 20-year-long processed filmed version of this obscure Sondheim show that people that like doesn't really hasn't really fully worked and like doesn't really have a lot of name recognition and like relies on Richard Linklater and Ben Platt and Beanie Feldstein and an entire cast living and being able to film for 20 years and Earth existing for 20 years. So everybody just keep holding on for 20 years because we're going to get to see a film version of this in 20 years, long after Sondheim will have passed along.
Starring the great naturally gifted, surely would have had the career he's had, regardless of who his father is, Ben Platt. He is very gifted. That's not a bit, but it also is not a bit that his father is one of the most powerful producers in Hollywood, and we should not.
Hey, man, you can't hold it against him that his dad has been the lead producer on almost every single major Broadway show.
Or every live TV musical as well.
And like films and Pitch Perfect.
And literally...
I really loved his film,
Dear Evan Hansen itself he produced.
Debut.
Yeah.
Yes, I also am looking forward to the filmed version of that, which actually, in the inverse of Merrily We Roll Along, they are frantically trying to put together so he doesn't age out.
Oh, they're gonna do it with him. That was like
they're like frantically throwing it together.
Episode from 2 weeks ago with Alex, where we talked about the Rent movie and how they used the original cast for these supposed to be young characters a full 10 years after the original production or whatever, and like. Oof. And they were already playing younger on stage. The movie's not good. Anyway.
It kind of actually looks like a deep fake. It's like if somebody deep faked like the original Rent production into a movie. Watching it is really bizarre.
Well,
how recently have you watched it?
Oh, it's been a while, but it's Chris Columbus just trying to act like it's not a musical in the way that
post Harry Potter. He's like, I just directed Harry Potter 1, and now I think I want to do Rent, actually.
They only give the movie musicals to the biggest hacks in Hollywood. It's fucking Chris Columbus or it's goddamn Rob Marshall.
Dude, Rob Marshall movie musicals are bad.
Yeah. This is an official stance of the stream. That's an official stance of musical theater is good, actually. I mean, Chicago is fine. Chicago is good. It's a great show. It's hard to fuck up. And he just pointed a camera at it, and yeah, it was good. 9 was garbage. Memoirs of a Geisha was awful. Into the Woods should have been a sure thing, and he decided to just have no visual style, no any kind of concept to a show that's about all the fairy tales.
Maleficent.
It had no character, and here is like one of the anyway, just so
The Into the Woods movie is garbage.
So I'm nervous, of course, about any Sondheim movie adaptation. And I'm also nervous.
This is gonna be Boyhood
about,
movie, though.
Right.
This is gonna be Boyhood Merrily.
This is somehow the sequel to Boyhood. Is the movie adaptation of Merrily We Roll Along. It's Boyhood but backwards.
Yeah, it's Boyhood backwards.
Manhood
and
backwards.
You know, can you imagine in the 90s, like, just think about this. Like, I've been thinking a lot about how much celebrity has changed, like, in the last, like, 20 years. And, like, imagine, like, that would have been, like, River Phoenix at that time. They would have been betting on, like, somebody who's, like, a star, like a young, hot star, living 20 years, dude. Not that Ben Platt's going to die.
Not a River Phoenix, though, I mean.
But, like, this movie, I never heard of this guy. It's fucked up. Like, that kind of shit, like, I think this is like truly an insane endeavor that like I can't even fathom, and like how it's getting made is beyond me.
I mean,
like
fucking Richard Linklater's gonna be in his 80s or so. Like he's gonna be like 80 when it comes out. Like he is not.
Also, who is this for?
I know, it's not one of like Sondheim's favorite. Like it will be for people that
me and you
were into. I mean, I'm fucking there. I'm fucking, you know, if the world is still a thing in America, you know, whatever. Which, open question.
But we won't see it in a movie theater. I can't wait to rent it on my Neuralink.
I'm very looking forward to my hollow performance of it. My holodeck, full on. 360 degree Beanie Feldstein and pining after Ben Platt. That's the other thing.
And you're like in a Wall-E chair, like getting spun around to get watched on it.
I would feel better if Ben Platt was Charlie. I don't think he's right for Frank. Is part of my
it's
issue.
Weird, right?
He's not a Frank.
Also, like, watch him become a Frank-type character because he's playing this character, like, every 2 years. Watch him, like, become a Franklin Shepard.
Franklin Shepard is the new, like, Joker. It's like, once you play him, we're never the same.
Franklin
you become a huge
Shepard-fied.
asshole.
Shepard-fied, dude.
Yeah, I'm getting Shepard-fied. Everybody getting Shepard-fied. Eating a shepherd pie, getting Shepard-fied. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you gotta get Kringus pilled.
Yeah, I'm Kringus pilled. We're Kringus pilled here. Charlie Kringus.
We're Kringus pilled.
He like, there's a lot of funny things about Charlie that I'm really glad that because this is the other thing is before last night I'd never seen this show. I'd never seen the entire show. I'd listened to the soundtrack a million times, specifically Franklin Shepard Inc. and Good Thing Going. I mean a lot of them, yeah. So I'd never seen it, and so I got this really good slime tutorial, and then I watched it last night and was just kind of really. I really loved it. I mean, like, it is flawed, and it feels long, even though it's not that long. It's like 2. It's like full 2, which is, for a musical, is not that bad. Musicals tend to
But a
be
lot
longer.
happens.
Yeah, a lot is packed into that. And it feels like you're skipping so quick along, but actually, I mean, the other cool thing about it is that it's like 3 or 4 scenes in the first act, 3 or 4 scenes in the second act. But each of those scenes are pretty long. They get you a lot of information, both about, you know, where they're at right now and what's happened, and like sort of fill in a lot of the gaps for the story. So it is an interesting watch. But is it, and it even is very moving. The ending is moving when you are remembering your own idealism, your own, like you're connecting that to it, and knowing you've made your own sacrifices. You were probably not a mega asshole like Franklin Shepard, but, you know, everybody's made whatever their decisions in life. And so that is very moving. But yeah, you're also left with, oh, but it went so horrible for them. So it is almost kind of like very didactic, I guess. I'm just dropping big words.
No, it's true.
In that it's like, it's a real, has a real moral to it, right? That it's asking you to, like, that it's not too late for you to whatever, call up your friend that you had a huge fight with or whatever. Like, it really, it's not directly telling you that, but that's if it does leave you in that, if there's something you take emotionally from it, that's it.
I also think, like, especially in a time where, you know, in this time where, like, you know, theater is gone, and, like, it's very easy to be, like, super cynical about it, like that our time really hit, because the show is so much about like loving this thing and then allowing these kind of outside factors to kind of make you cynical or corrupt it. And much like that aspect of the show resonated with me on this kind of like meditation of it when we've been thinking about
I'm
it.
into meditation. It's a lyric.
I'm into meditation,
it's a lyric
dude.
from the song.
Hey man, I'm into meditation.
This is a thing that theater people do is when they're in the show together, if somebody says a word that's like in a big line in the show, it's like you feel you have to get it out of your brain. Like you have to say that line. You know what I'm talking about? Like that type of thing.
Yeah, you develop weird compulsions when you do shows. Like you really do. It's hard. And then those lines, those little ones, the early ones that start to become like that, then get like twisted into a joke where someone will make it dirty or goofy. And then, you know, famously, Larry Linguini, dude.
Oh, yeah. That was when Harrison and I, the first time we did a show together, was ragtime.
Look up the reviews. Read the reviews. Top review.
This was my first very negative review for playing Harry Houdini in a community theater production of Ragtime, where I was not given any kind of magic trick, and I had to just make something up. So I pretended that I had handcuffs, and I would gesture with them, and then I would go, "Oh, I broke free!"
Or this, or like, we're like, "Whoa, what?"
So I would like overcompensate a lot for that, and in the Broadway World Review, I was called out for having distractingly cartoonish arms. So that's one of my favorite.
Very
reviews.
Funny shit.
Distractingly cartoonish, yeah. But we made up.
I gotta say, I saw that show.
We made up a whole Weird Al style
like
parody for Harry Houdini.
Oh yeah.
For a character called Larry Linguini, to the like Harry Houdini song from the show.
And somebody was in the show was very insistent upon it being dirty. Just kept really making it dirty.
He had to just take it, and we're like, that's not what Larry Linguini
Excuse me,
about,
sir. This
man.
is not what... Yeah.
No,
this is Weird Al.
Larry Linguini is about stuffing his face with cookies and cakes and pies.
Yeah, this ain't that foul SNL type stuff. We're not doing that kind of foul SNL
All right, I'm
humor.
gonna sing it. I am gonna sing it. It's Larry Linguini stuffing his face with cookies and cakes and pies. Reaching for stuffing turkey and something Thanksgiving every night. Hoping to hear an ice cream truck near or chicken that's being fried. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Come see Linguini at the buffet. that was the song. If you know Ragtime, that's very funny.
10-year-old song. It's unbelievable you remember that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
all
Harrison
the way through.
and I,
The
like,
chicken that's being fried.
Very early in our friendship, we made a whole Weird Al parody song to a very small bit of Ragtime. Yeah, it's fun to
a
have.
very small bit of, what is that song?
That's Atlantic City. That's part of Atlantic
Crime of the
City.
Century.
No, that's...
Oh, it is. Okay.
It's Atlantic City. I mean, the melody might be the same. Oh, that was something else I wanted to talk about, was the sort of the themes in Merrily. Back to that just real quick. We're getting to the
We
end
roll
of this.
along, of course.
We'll roll along just a bit.
As in we roll along.
But there's a lot of musical themes that obviously repeat throughout the show. I mean, the obvious one is the Merrily We Roll Along. I mean, that's all the transitions. But then I think also, I mean, Old Friends repeats a lot. And the Here's to Us, Who's Like Us, Damn Few. That message, that repeats a bunch. Our Time actually does. I caught it this time. There's a few times. In the Act 1 finale, they start singing, it's your time, like to the same chords.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot. So there's, and then a Good Thing Going, which is their sort of big hit in the show. That takes a while to come into the show, but when it does, it comes in like really strong, and then it gets repeated more and more and more, and then you sort of start to understand like this song and how it was like so big for them. But the song that doesn't get repeated, it's just on its own, is Franklin Shepherd Inc. And I really appreciate that, because you could very easily borrow a lot of those motifs, a lot of those things throughout the show, but it's so its own thing. It is the blow up moment, and it all just builds to that, except it's at the beginning. I mean, so it builds in reverse to that in the show. And yeah, it's its own, and so it really, I've always loved, getting into the intricacies of that song and that relationship and everything that's going on. I mean, like, that was the first song that really grabbed me in this show when I was just listening to the cast recording for the first time. And I listened to the original cast recording, which is not, I think the revival is a much better cast recording. And it got to that song and I was like, whoa, that's a song. Like, I want to do that. Whatever that character is, that's the one I want to play. And then that was, yeah. So, dream come true to get to do it with you tonight, Harrison. We did it. We did the
You
Franklin
too, man.
Shepard
Thanks for
cough.
having me.
Absolutely.
We did it.
Is there anything else to say about Merrily? About did we get into everything with best worst thing? Was there anything else to say about that? I mean, is it still on?
I think
is it still on
it's
Netflix?
on Netflix.
Watch that. Watch that. It's an interesting, just like the way that they unpack all these kids that just are brought into, like, you think about from the perspective both of Sondheim, who's at the top of his career, and then everything goes to shit, and then all these kids that are like, we are starring in the new Stephen Sondheim show, and how awesome is that? And then it is such an arduous process to get it out. There's a lot of things, like the Franklin Shepard gets replaced like 2 weeks before opening. Like, it's all this crazy shit happens.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of rewriting, reworking, them kind of telling it's not working, but they're all, just trying to be as happy as possible. And then it gets ripped to shreds when it opens. And this really important memory becomes like really painful. Like, the original Mary never performs again after the show and stuff. And so it's a really, really
It's a good
story, really great story. Yeah.
I think it actually functions really nicely as like a companion piece to Every Little Step, because Every Little Step like kind of shows the like hopeless grind of acting and like kind of leaves you at the end being like, damn, it's good for that person who got that and this sucks for the people who don't, but well. This show like shows people having like dealt with the grief, like going from the pinnacle, the epitome of joy of like, I'm going to star as a kid, as like a teen. So like sentient enough like to realize how awesome it is. I'm going to star in a new Sondheim musical. It flops. Many people go different ways. Jason Alexander becomes, one of the biggest TV stars of his time. And like other people completely leave.
I was just saying our time.
Yeah. And like our time. And then other people like completely leave the industry. But at the very end, like what I do really love is that almost everybody says, I believe there's a montage at the end where almost everybody says like it was the best experience of my whole life. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which also in a lot of ways is the thesis of the show. Like I still loved my life. Like,
right. You wouldn't change anything to have that idealism, to remember, hitting your head against the wall and failing and failing and failing, and then tasting success and all of those highs and all of the bad decisions. I mean, like,
but Frank doesn't really get a comeuppance though, like, which I would say like it's definitely a reflective piece, but it doesn't really.
If it is,
I don't know.
It's at the end of the first scene where his like life's a shambles at that moment, and then that's when he starts thinking about. But that's why I'm saying that, and maybe the movie actually could help this, is that it almost does need more of like a framing device of older Frank looking back continuously, and maybe that will be easier to do in a movie. But also, I love Richard Linklater. I think he's done some really great movies. Actually,
Bernie rocks.
Bernie's awesome. Did Richard Linklater do School of Rock? Was that Richard Linklater?
He sure did. I love School of Rock.
Okay, so
too.
he has done a kind of musical. It's not like this though. But
no, that's like a family comedy more so than a musical.
Yeah, so I don't know, but also the way that this is a musical, again, it's not a traditional musical. It's not dances and stuff. It's like a domestic drama of three friends falling apart or whatever. So maybe he could, and he's really good at like capturing like naturalism and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm going to be optimistic, just like
I am too.
The end of this show. Harrison, this has been just a joy. I'm going to leave us here with a disco Sondheim. Yeah. And that's going to be it.
Thanks,
Harrison,
everybody.
Thanks for being here. This was really great. If you haven't listened to Losing My Mind, a Sondheim Disco Fever Dream, please do so.
And listen to Super Mind Exploder.
Oh yeah, listen to Super Mind Exploder. Watch, follow and subscribe MindSugar666. Subscribe to Good to See You podcast. And yeah, follow at Harrison.
At HHAARRISSOON, and you can find all those shows in RRISSOON.com.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here once again. We'll see you next week. I think I have a really cool guest lined up, but we're figuring out what we're going to talk about. So look out for what that's going to be. It's going to be a really good, fun show next week. I think we're going to go back to some kind of a spooky show. This show's just spooky because what's spookier than failure and regret? So I think it counts. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your weekend. I love you. Goodbye.
Bye.